You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Right now at 9 o'clock, taking a live look outside. It's another chilly one this December 9th. Lots to get to this Tuesday morning as we follow stories in our community and all across the Bay Area. Thanks for being with us. I'm Ann Makovic. And here's a look at some of our news headlines. Right now, that suspect in a deadly stabbing at Zuckerberg San Francisco General Hospital is set to be arraigned today. 34-year-old Wilfredo Tortolero Arechi is accused of stabbing 51-year-old Alberto Rangel multiple times. The social worker died 2 days later from his injuries. Tortolero Arechi is charged for his murder. He is due in court at 1:30 this afternoon. It is back to the bargaining table as the West Contra Costa teachers strike reaches its fourth day. Union members are going to meet with the district again this afternoon after weekend talks failed to produce a contract. The United Teachers of Richmond want a 5% raise, but the district say they can only afford 3% with a $17 million budget shortfall. Both sides meeting again at 3 today at Alvarado Elementary School. And Palo Alto is cracking down on people turning RVs into rentals. The city council voted 6-1 to ban renting out RVs and leaving unattached trailers parked on streets. The move targets so-called van lords who profit by renting RVs as housing. A ban starts with a $500 fine. Police will begin enforcing it 2 weeks after posting signs. Let's get a check on our first alert forecast now. Here's Jessica Birch.
It's another cool day for us today here in the Bay Area with 60s along the coast, 40s in the forecast all the way off into our inland spots. Antioch, stretched all the way over into Concord and Walnut Creek, are dealing with seasonably cool conditions this afternoon, similar to yesterday. And believe it or not, we're going to see a repeat of this again tomorrow before we see a little bit of a warm up getting closer to this weekend. Other than that, though, we have 50s up in the North Bay, 50s along the peninsula from San Francisco down into Redwood City. This is jacket weather, folks, and all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. Yeah, we warm up a degree or two more into the low 60s, but it's still a chilly one for us there too. Along our coastal communities, we are under a beach hazard statement today issued by the National Weather Service, and we're monitoring that closely where we can see rip currents and sneaker waves. And all the way over into our inland spots we go. The big story for us today over into the Delta has to do with the Tule fog once again spilling in from the Sacramento Valley. It's stubborn, and today alone we're going to see it hold on tight to our East Bay communities like Solano County, Contra Costa County into the evening hours tonight. Let's take a quick look at the next 7 days now. Throughout the Bay Area, it is a chilly one for us. Daytime highs a little bit below average for this time of year off into our inland spots, and that's the trend as we head into this weekend. Low 50s each day, partly cloudy skies. The next chance of showers rolls in as we head into next Monday and Tuesday, so we'll keep a close eye on those long-range models too. Over to the Bay we go, a little bit warmer compared to those inland spots, which is so fascinating during this time of year. We'll see some more sunshine tomorrow lasting into Thursday before more of those clouds start rolling in from offshore into early next week. Back to you.
Well, some newly released audio is revealing more details about the night an off-duty pilot tried to turn off a plane's engines mid-flight. The former Alaska Airlines pilot says he was feeling the effects of magic mushrooms when the incident occurred. A plane was on its way here to San Francisco, had to be diverted to Portland. Chris Van Cleef has more details.
We're getting a new look into the night when off-duty airline pilot Joseph Emerson tried to turn off the engines of an Alaska Airlines regional jet while feeling the effects of so-called magic mushrooms he'd taken 2 days earlier. For the first time, we're seeing airport security video that shows police walking Emerson off the plane in handcuffs after the flight made an emergency landing in Portland, Oregon in October of 2023, and new cockpit audio of the moment it all happened.
I'm not okay. You're okay? What's that? Not okay.
Then sounds of a struggle before pilots make a distress call.
Horizon, we need to make an emergency landing.
I'm sorry, who was that?
That's Horizon 2059. We've got a jump seater. Just try to shut our engines off. We need to go direct to Portland now.
Were you trying to crash that plane?
No. No, I had no intention of crashing an actual airplane. I wanted to wake up.
We talked to Emerson in July. There were 83 other passengers and crew on board that plane, a full flight, so Emerson was in the cockpit jump seat. He pulled handles meant to cut off fuel in the event of a fire.
Did you know what those handles would do?
I mean, in the dream, in this dissociative state, I thought they were going to wake me up. It didn't wake me up, right? I was in reality. I know that now. It's the most consequential 3 seconds of my life.
Emerson later pleaded guilty to a federal charge of interfering with a flight crew, and just last month, the judge sentenced him to 3 years of supervised release and credit for the 46 days he spent in jail.
Well, Emerson said in court that he saw mental health professionals while in custody and that he regretted the harm that he caused. Police are now investigating an anti-Semitic incident that happened on a high school in San Jose involving students. A group of them laid down on the football field using their bodies to form a swastika. And then they posted a photo online to social media along with an anti-Semitic quote from Adolf Hitler. It happened at Branham High School last week. At least 8 students seem to be involved. There's been swift outrage from the school district. Our Amanda Harry talked to members of the San Jose Jewish community about how they can deeper educate students to prevent these kinds of incidents in the future.
Honestly, my immediate reaction was a great fear.
News of a group of San Jose teens forming what's been described as a human swastika has rippled through the community. Police are investigating what was reported as a hate crime, and Mickey Weiss is trying to navigate how to help her teen.
We had a long conversation with our sophomore the entire weekend, and as much as I try not to scare him off, I want him to be prepared that things like that can happen because this is the reality we're living in.
Weiss is Jewish and never imagined having to talk to her son about this symbol appearing in his school district, nearly a century after it became synonymous with hate, anti-Semitism, and racism during the Holocaust.
The ignorance is overwhelming. Students are not properly educated in the school system. In our high school district specifically, there's no end to what might happen.
Weiss's son goes to Lee High School. The incident happened at Branham, but Tali Klima with the Bay Area Jewish Coalition says the shock and disgust is far-reaching.
This was reverberated far beyond just the student community of Branham High School. It's the parents, it's the entire San Jose community, and this has gone throughout the Bay Area and the Jewish community, throughout California, really.
The students posted the photo of the human swastika to social media with a quote from Adolf Hitler. While Maya Bronicki, also with the coalition, says it's disappointing, she's not shocked.
Since November 2023, I have helped resolve over 500 incidents of anti-Semitism in K-12 schools only.
Bronicki says over the past 2 years, as the Israel-Gaza conflict continues, more people have become afraid to identify as Jewish.
We already have kids who are telling us, it's too hard to be Jewish. Mom, I don't want to for people to know that I'm Jewish.
Bronicki wants to see more education on the history of Judaism in schools. And the Branham High School principal says they're going to do just that. Branham is implementing multiple educational approaches to help students understand the history of the Holocaust and the impact of hate symbols, hate speech, and anti-Semitism. But as a parent of a Lee High Jewish teen, Weiss still wants to see this type of action from the entire Campbell Union High School district.
Very angry, very frustrated, and just very sad.
Well, State Senator Dave Cortese responded to the incident saying, quote, as we confront these troubling incidents, we must reaffirm our responsibility to teach younger generations the importance of rejecting hate and standing up for one another. Schools should be places where every student feels safe, respected, and supported. The Federal Reserve kicks off a 2-day meeting today, and there's a lot of attention on what could be the final rate cut of 2025. Most experts expect a quarter-point cut tomorrow, which would lower rates for mortgages, credit cards, and other loans. But the feds are facing some pressure with no fresh hiring or inflation data because of the government shutdown. Tariff-driven inflation and rising layoffs have made the Fed's job harder, balancing affordability with a cooling labor market. We now have the jobs report for October, and it stayed steady from previous months. Nearly 7.7 million jobs were added in, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But analysts also say hiring activity dropped. Layoffs went up and less people quit. This report was delayed because, again, of the government shutdown. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, the next phase of BART coming to San Jose. We're going to take you underground to take a look at that progress and the unexpected ways it's affecting local businesses. Plus, high-speed e-bikes are becoming a growing safety concern on some Bay Area school campuses. The new rules and efforts to rein them in.
Well, it's another cool day for us today, especially in our inland spots, where daytime highs are really only sitting in the upper 40s and lower 50s, not only this afternoon, but throughout the next couple days. Now, the Sacramento Valley has been filled with that stubborn Tule fog, and it spills its way into the bay through the Delta. We were noticing that again this morning, and we'll continue to keep a close eye on it as we head into the next couple days. As we head over into the bay forecast, daytime highs are just a little bit warmer compared to some of our inland spots. Low 60s also trickled in there. That's the case as we head into this weekend's forecast.
We are finally seeing progress on a major public transit project more than 4 decades in the making. We wanted to give you an overview of the next phase of this BART extension project. The line in purple represents the plan to open 4 new stations in Silicon Valley, ending in Santa Clara. The key to connecting these stations is a massive underground tunnel that will run through downtown San Jose. That extension is years behind schedule, and as we see as with many large public projects these days, way over budget. But we are seeing things start to take shape. Len Ramirez gives us a first look at where this massive project will begin.
Well, this is our first look at this massive project that begins here near Mineta San Jose International Airport and will bore 5 miles underground, connecting downtown San Jose to BART, and then coming out on the other end at Berryessa. From above, the scale comes into view, the beginnings of a deep tunnel and what looks like a small city of cranes, drilling rigs, and hundreds of workers. This is the future gateway for BART into downtown San Jose and the start of a massive tunnel that will make it all possible. VTA construction managers say the $12.7 billion project is funded by voter-approved local tax measures plus state and federal transportation dollars, a big chunk of which was just approved months ago.
Last summer, right after we broke ground here on the West Portal site, we received word that the Federal Transit Administration, the FTA, is going to contribute up to $5.1 billion of the cost of building BART Silicon Valley Phase 2.
The tunnel will stretch 5 miles and reach an average depth of 80 feet, carrying BART from Berryessa through downtown San Jose into Diridon Station and out towards the Newhall area where much of today's construction is happening. After years of planning and redesigns, VTA has settled on a configuration to build the tunnel wide enough for 2 side-by-side tracks, seen here on the right, as opposed to over and under.
We confirmed that the most constructible, feasible, and cost-effective way to get the BART Silicon Valley program open on time and on budget is by building a single bore and a single dig, starting right here in the West Portal and digging all the way over to the east side of San Jose.
Engineers say 2 major challenges lie beneath the surface: seismic safety and hitting underground water.
First, we explored all of the ground to establish the anticipated conditions, allow the contractor to bring equipment that was well suited for this ground, especially the tunnel boring machine, which is custom designed and built for our local ground conditions.
A custom-made tunnel boring machine, now being built in Germany, will be assembled on site. It will drill through the earth at the front and lay concrete tunnel segments behind it as it moves, forming a passage wide enough for the tracks and terminal platforms.
As massive as this excavation is, we need every bit of it to install our tunnel boring machine. It will be lowered in segments down to the bottom of the shaft and welded together and launched. The entire tunnel boring machine factory is almost 350 feet long.
For now, it's all early groundwork, but these scenes mark the start of a project that will reshape Bay Area transit, even if riders won't see trains here for more than a decade. The BART extension is scheduled to open in 2037.
So with an underground project of this magnitude, it's no surprise that several businesses had to get out of the way along East Santa Clara Street in downtown. This is one of the buildings that was forced to close. That's because the boring company needs to create vents and some sort of emergency exit for workers. The building included a longtime Mexican bakery that shut down last summer, and then it finally reopened 2 months ago a few miles away. Ryan Yamamoto had a chance to talk to the owner, Jose Landon, about getting his bakery back off the ground.
How stressful was that for you? We were real established in that location, right? So people, they knew already that was one of the original Mexico bakery spots. We didn't want to move, right? Because it takes a lot of effort to open up a business, right? So we are been trying to get this business up and running for almost over a year, right? And we still, even though we are open, this is just a soft opening because we are not working at full capacity. We don't have the kitchen yet, right? But at the same time, I mean, City of San Jose is helping us to get to that point where we are fully operational.
One other issue for this project, VTA is still looking for a new contractor to take over the tunnel boring because the previous company, known as KST, came in with a bid that was 70 to 100% over the budgeted cost. That is going to mean more delays for a project that was originally supposed to open by 2026. Waymo is expected to voluntarily recall some of its robo-taxis this week. That follows several close calls with school buses in Austin, Texas. Waymo's caught on camera on multiple occasions, ignoring flashing red lights and stop signs on school buses. The feds were already looking into the issue, and the company said it fixed the glitch, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So this doesn't mean you're going to see those self-driving cars pulled from the roads. Instead, they are expected to fix this through a software update. School districts across the Bay Area grappling to address the growing number of e-bikes on their campuses. And part of the problem is many of them are illegal or being operated by kids under the age of 16. Kenny Choi has details on the plan to try to rein them in.
What started as a crusade to allow e-bikes on bicycle trails in Marin County years ago has become a mission to make roads safer for Bob Middlestead.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
As a volunteer for Safe Routes to School and founder of e-bike Access, Middlestead visits school campuses across the Bay Area to track the rising number of e-motos.
This is like driving a motor vehicle without a driver's license and without DMV plates.
It's illegally modified e-bikes and e-motos he and others describe as illegal electric motorcycles that can go from 0 to 40 or even 50 plus miles per hour in seconds that are causing safety issues on school campuses, sidewalks, and roads.
It doesn't even have a Class 2 e-bike label on it. It doesn't pretend to be an e-bike. It's an e-motorcycle, start to finish.
As students commute to school using e-bikes, some legal and others not, regulating them has become a challenge for law enforcement and school districts. In the South Bay, the Menlo Park City School District recently banned anyone under 16 from bringing e-bikes capable of exceeding 20 miles per hour or operating without pedaling onto campus. Kristen Gracia is Menlo Park City School District Superintendent.
The primary reason for doing this was student safety and is student safety.
School officials believe the new rules will curb the number of e-bike related accidents and illegal e-bikes.
It creates a very predictable situation and one that our district is trying to avoid.
We're talking about brain trauma, talking about multiple broken bones, internal injuries, you know, the serious stuff, the kind of stuff you get when you're in a motorcycle accident.
Central Marin Police confirmed last month it had cited at least one parent for allowing an unlicensed driver of an e-motorcycle and that illegal e-bikes have been impounded.
That is a great step forward. That will wake up parents once they know about that.
Law enforcement points to staffing issues in tackling illegal e-bikes. Safety advocates like Middlestead continue to push school districts and police for more enforcement.
Well, Well, Middlestead says at one high school campus in Marin, its team of volunteers documented a 55% increase in e-motorcycles between April 2024 and September 2025. As for the new e-bike rules at Menlo Park City Schools, any e-bike or e-moto in violation of the policy will be locked and held by the school. It would then have to be retrieved by a parent or guardian. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, it is the season of giving, and our local food banks are working hard to feed people who need it the most. We're at the food bank of Contra Costa and Solano with the special donation matching for today only.
Never give up, baby.
All the way off into our inland spots we go. Solano County, Contra Costa County. It's another foggy morning for us here in the Bay, especially as it spills its way in from the Sacramento Valley. Now that stubborn Tule fog, that radiation fog, has been filling the Sacramento Valley so much recently, and it will be stubborn as we head into this afternoon. You take a look at our timeline into the 6 o'clock hour tonight. We're still seeing cloudy skies over all throughout the Delta. Solano County included in on that, and that will fill the Bay once again as we wake up tomorrow morning, just to paint that picture a little bit more. So you take a look at the next 7 days. Cloudy starts to the morning, foggy starts to the morning, widespread throughout the Bay, but luckily we'll see some sunshine into those afternoon hours with the low 60s returning to the forecast throughout the Bay, flirting back and forth with upper 50s as we head into this weekend's forecast. Let's head over into our inland spots, though. You take a look at those numbers behind me. If you think that's cool, watch what happens as I pull up places like the East Bay. Low 50s in store for us. We'll hold on tight to that as we head into this weekend with cloudy skies. The big story for us has to do with rain rolling in as early as next Monday and Tuesday. We'll have more on that coming up in just a bit. For now, back to you.
Well, it has been a much calmer morning in the East Bay today after a series of earthquakes rocked the area yesterday. 7 mini earthquakes hit near San Ramon along the Calaveras Fault. The largest, 3.6. They all happened between 2 and 10 a.m. The biggest quake was felt as far away as San Jose. And in Piedmont, a 2.9 magnitude quake hit just before 3 yesterday afternoon. Neighbors in San Ramon say after the multiple shakes, they just wanted things to chill out.
You could hear the blinds, you could hear the house cracking, and I was just, I keep wondering, okay, when is the second story going to come down? You get to the point where it's just like, okay, come on, all right, are we done yet? Because we're on the third one, the fourth one, from that day.
Yeah, I can imagine. An expert from the USGS says they don't know exactly why these swarms happen, but they're common for the area.
We've seen them historically, 1970, 1976, 1990, 2002, 2003, 2015, 2018, and now we had a small swarm in November and another swarm now. We think it's some small sort of micro movements along the fault or along smaller faults in the area. And that's just generating a couple little earthquakes that sort of pop off and trigger each other.
The seismologist said for practical reasons, earthquakes are only registered after they reach 2.0 on the scale, but the Earth is constantly shifting, so some amount of movement is happening at all times. Coming up in the next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, paying to keep Muni on track, how San Francisco voters could have a say on a new lifeline for the transit agency.
People don't want to pay more for the lower service they're currently getting.
We are going to take a look at dueling plans for a tax on next year's ballot. And taking a live look outside before we head to break, it is 9:29 a.m. We're going to have another look at your top stories and your first alert forecast when we come back.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for being with us this Tuesday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at some of our news headlines at this hour. The suspect in a deadly stabbing at San Francisco General Hospital is set to be arraigned today. 34-year-old Wilfredo Toralecho Urechi is accused of stabbing 51-year-old Alberto Rangel multiple times, and the social worker died 2 days later from his injuries. Tortolero Urechi is charged for his murder. He is due in court at 1:30 this afternoon. Back to the bargaining table today as the West Contra Costa teachers strike reaches its 4th day. Union members meeting with the district again this afternoon after weekend talks failed to produce a contract. The United Teachers of Richmond want a 5% raise, but the district says they can only afford 3% because they have a $17 million budget shortfall. And another big-name retailer saying goodbye to downtown San Francisco. H&M has announced plans to shut down its store at the struggling San Francisco Center Mall. The store is going to close in January, just weeks after lenders took over the mall in auction. H&M says it's looking for a new location in the city and plans to move affected workers to nearby locations. The closure adds to a growing list of retailers leaving the now mostly vacant mall. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast because it has been downright cold all around the Bay. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
It's another cool day for us today here in the Bay Area with 60s along the coast, 40s in the forecast all the way off into our inland spots. Antioch, stretched all the way over into Concord and Walnut Creek, are dealing with seasonably cool conditions this afternoon, similar to yesterday. And believe it or not, we're going to see a repeat of this again tomorrow before we see a little bit of a warm up getting closer to this weekend. Other than that, though, we have 50s up in the North Bay, 50s along the peninsula from San Francisco down into Redwood City. This is jacket weather, folks, and all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. Yeah, we warm up a degree or two more into the low 60s, but it's still a chilly one for us there too. Along our coastal communities, we are under a beach hazard statement today issued by the National Weather Service, and we're monitoring that closely where we can see rip currents and sneaker waves. And all the way over into our inland spots we go. The big story for us today over into the Delta has to do with the Thule fog once again spilling in from the Sacramento Valley. It's stubborn, and today alone we're going to see it hold on tight to our East Bay communities like Solano County, Contra Costa County into the evening hours tonight. Let's take a quick look at the next 7 days now. Throughout the Bay Area, it is a chilly one for us. Daytime highs a little bit below average for this time of year off into our inland spots, and that's the trend as we head into this weekend. Low 50s each day, partly cloudy skies. The next chance of showers rolls in as we head into next Monday and Tuesday, so we'll keep a close eye on those long-range models too. Over to the Bay we go, a little bit warmer compared to those inland spots, which is so fascinating during this time of year. We'll see some more sunshine tomorrow lasting into Thursday before more of those clouds start rolling in from offshore into early next week. Back to you.
New plans for a lifeline for Muni public transportation in San Francisco, but somebody's got to pay for it. So the question is who? The transit agency has been dealing with a massive budget deficit that's already forced significant service cuts. Now city leaders are proposing a parcel tax that would go before voters in November. But Kelsey Thorid heard from some transportation advocates who say it doesn't go far enough.
Lisa Platt moved to San Francisco over a decade ago, specifically so she would no longer have to drive to get around town.
This really offered us freedom of movement. Honestly, it offered us the opportunity to have that third glass of wine and still make it home. And so we chose a location in the city that had tons of bus service to allow us massive amounts of access to the city.
But recently, Lisa says that bus service that made the city so appealing to her has seen significant cutbacks.
I lost the 41, I lost the 10, I lost 45 night service, so if I want to go out in North Beach, I can no longer get home past 10 p.m.
The SFMTA says it has been forced to make cuts because the agency is facing a more than $300 million annual budget deficit. To try and fill that gap, city leaders are proposing a parcel tax, which would go before voters on next year's ballot. The issue right now is what exactly that tax will look like and who it will impact most.
Muni now.
Muni forever! I am here on behalf of San Francisco small businesses to lend our voices to the call for a complete, fully funded Muni system and to demand that the wealthiest San Franciscans pay their fair share for that system.
Dozens of transportation supporters, activists, and local leaders gathered on the steps of City Hall to call on the mayor, city leaders, and the public to back a proposal that would raise over $260 million by implementing a range of fees based on the type of parcel with no caps.
So the parcel tax will go 100% for operations. So it will be to sustain the services that we have and hopefully expand them to what we had before the pandemic, before we had to start cutting lines.
This proposal is an alternative to a parcel tax backed by Mayor Daniel Lurie. That proposal also aims to put the larger burden on the city's wealthiest residents It would raise just under $190 million using a similar fee structure, but with a $250,000 cap on multifamily homes and a $400,000 cap on commercial buildings. A statement sent to us by the mayor's office said in part, quote, "We have put together a plan to fund Muni that protects small businesses and families, and that will allow us to improve and expand service, helping get San Franciscans around the city and accelerate our city's comeback." But the people rallying outside City Hall don't believe the mayor's proposal goes far enough, including Lisa Platt.
And what I've heard time and time again is people don't want to pay more for the lower service they're currently getting. They are willing to pay more if they can get some of that service back.
Lisa says she's backing the $260 million proposal because she wants all of the buses she used to be able to catch outside her home back.
San Francisco, the heart is our transit system, and I hear that even from tourists who are visiting, and tourist-heavy D2, and I'm hoping that love really shows through in being able to really save the system from massive cuts.
So the parcel tax won't be the only transit lifeline before voters in November. Governor Newsom also signed a bill laying the groundwork for a regional sales tax on the ballot that would fund BART, Muni, Caltrain, and other transit agencies. Well, Bay Area food banks in full gear this holiday season. The food bank of Contra Costa and Solano says that it now provides enough groceries to feed about 79,000 households every month. Our Veronica Macias joins us from the food bank of Contra Costa and Solano right now. And we need the details on this special donation that would make everybody's dollar go way further.
Isn't this exciting? You know, this morning we've been keeping an eye on the donations that are coming in, and every time we see one, it's, you know, so rewarding to know that what we're doing here is paying off this morning, and because it makes all the difference. For today's donation, this match is going to help provide $1 for meals for someone. And that goes a long way, especially for families who are struggling right now with things being so expensive. Joining me now, President and CEO of the Food Bank. Caitlin, thanks for joining us. Tell us about, you were talking about how in your family, community service, this was really, fed to you growing up. Talk about the need for feeding families and why it's so important. Hunger, a human right.
Yeah, it is so incredibly important, especially in this community. We're one of the wealthiest communities in the wealthiest state in the wealthiest country. And to think that there are families who are worried about where they're going to put their holiday meal on the table is just not right. The need has increased so much, and we're here to make sure that our neighbors in need are fed this holiday season.
Which are the ways that you're seeing the need increase? How is that evident in the numbers and in the ways at the distribution site? Because you've had quite the shakeup this year.
We have seen the average number of households we serve each month go from 65,000 to 79,000. We've seen visits to our Need Food page on our website go up by 400%. The government, between the government shutdown, federal funding cuts, all the chaos that has gone on this year, people experiencing hunger are anxious and they're worried, and we're here for them, luckily, because of the generosity of our donors.
Right, and I know that you guys are also tracking people actually looking for those ways to get food. Talk to me a little bit more about this match. Who's the donor and the details of it?
We are so grateful that Pacific Service Credit Union has offered a $50,000 match. So for every dollar, it's going to be matched 1-to-1. For every dollar that is donated, as you said, we're able to provide enough food for 4 meals. So people can really, by every little bit helps, and everything they donate is going to go even further today.
So important that people who are watching right now, as you're getting ready, maybe to prepare lunch for your family, to think about those in need in your community. You've definitely seen it. Tell me a little bit about the faces that you're seeing coming to the food bank.
We are seeing more and more older adults that live on fixed incomes, and their fixed incomes are not keeping up with the high cost of living. Families with children that are struggling to pay for childcare and work 1 or 2 jobs to make ends meet. People who are working. It really is everyone. It could be you or me if we fell on hard times. And so that's, I think, the message we really want to drive home to our neighbors is that these are our neighbors. These are you and me, and we need to be there for them.
Yeah, helping each other out. Yeah, so many ways to help. You have PG&E workers right now who are volunteering their time, but if you can donate money, today is the day to do so. We want to see that contribution matched today, and we're hoping to do that here, Ann.
Absolutely. All right. Keep up the good work over there, everybody. Thanks, Veronica Macias, for bringing that to us. And if you want to support local food banks, just scan the QR code on your screen, or you can head to our website, kpix.com/give. And we'd love you to join us for our holiday special that's airing Christmas night, 7 o'clock on KPIX and streaming on the free CBS News app. We're going to have all the inspiring stories behind our effort to feed families across the Bay Area. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, we are talking with some of the top contenders for governor about transgender students and sports, how they would address efforts to overturn a law giving athletes the right to choose their teams.
Well, it's another cool day for us today, especially in our inland spots, where daytime highs are really only sitting in the upper 40s and lower 50s, not only this afternoon, but throughout the next couple days. Now, the Sacramento Valley has been filled with that stubborn Tule fog, and it spills its way into the bay through the Delta. We were noticing that again this morning, and we'll continue to keep a close eye on it as we head into the next couple days. As we head over into the bay forecast, daytime highs are just a little bit warmer compared to some of our inland spots. Low 60s also trickled in there. That's the case as we head into this weekend's forecast.
All right, we are continuing our series of sit-down interviews with the candidates for California governor. Today, we are asking them about the debate over transgender students and sports. It's been a hot-button issue. This all comes as the Trump administration is suing California to overturn its 2013 state law that gives transgender students the right to choose which school sports teams they play on and which locker rooms they use. 71% of California public school parents support President Trump's executive order requiring transgender athletes to play on teams based on, quote, sex and not gender identity. That is according to a recent poll from the Public Policy Institute of California. Julie Watts investigates just how much power the next governor will have to repeal controversial California laws.
We were surprised when one of the candidates for California governor suggested he'd have California's Attorney General sue the state to overturn the state law that allows transgender student athletes to pick their school sports teams. Now, keep in mind, California Attorney General Rob Bonta is currently defending that law in federal court against the Trump administration, a law that AG Bonta voted to pass when he was in the assembly.
I want to overturn the legislation that enables that. It's not fair. It's not fair for girls who've worked so hard. The governor has the right to challenge legislation and overturn legislation through the courts if the governor believes that it violates the state constitution. We believe that that legislation...
Who's we?
Me and my legal team.
Okay.
Violates the California Constitution in two specific places.
How so?
Section 28, which guarantees safe schools, and Section 31, which bans gender discrimination.
So you're already coming in saying we think there are several California laws that are unconstitutional, and you're going to come in with your lawyers and try to...
So first I'll ask the legislature to overturn it. That'll be my first step.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say if we still have the majority, it's not going to happen.
I agree.
They don't overturn it.
Yes.
How does that work with the state attorney general? So the attorney general is elected.
Actually, the attorney general is required to file that lawsuit if the governor determines that it violates the state constitution, regardless of party.
But how hard does the attorney general fight, or who do they assign to that case? Which prosecutor?
It's a great question.
I mean, look, things that an attorney general can do to try to kill a lawsuit. I mean, legally speaking, you have to have thought about this. If you have a Republican governor who comes to you and says, sir, you have to file this lawsuit on behalf of the state of California to overturn an existing state law because I believe it's unconstitutional, how do you as AG handle that?
First, the governor is not my boss. My boss is the people of the state of California. I'm independently elected. I'm an independent constitutional officer. I do not answer to the governor. I don't take directions from the governor.
But your office is his legal representation.
They are when the governor seeks it, they are my client. The governor is my client. So he's often my client.
So Steve Hilton, though, could be your client, and he could say, I want you to file this lawsuit on my behalf.
Right. And I can't do things that are unethical or violate my professional obligations and that are unlawful. I generally defend the laws of the state of California. That is my duty, unless they're unconstitutional. Sometimes there's a rare example that Kamala Harris thought Prop 8 was unconstitutional and she refused to defend it. But we generally are defending the laws of the state of California. We go through the court process, and if a court decides against us and strikes it down, then we will. But the AG doesn't attack laws of the state of California at the request of a governor. That's not a thing.
Now, the California Constitution clearly states the Attorney General is the chief law enforcement officer, but it also says they are subject to the power of the governor. Now, when Jerry Brown was Attorney General and Kamala Harris after him, they both refused to defend California's same-sex marriage ban. But in that case, it was someone else suing the state to overturn state law. In this case, it would be the governor suing the state. Now, multiple constitutional law experts who we interviewed agreed that if the AG refuses to represent the governor can use state funds to hire outside counsel. So, in short, while the governor can't force the Attorney General to represent him, the Attorney General can't prevent the governor from suing his own state agencies to try to overturn state law.
All right, following that interview with Julie, multiple sources confirm Attorney General Bonta is now considering jumping into the governor's race himself. And we have in-depth interviews with all the top contenders for governor on a range of important issues. Just look for the special section on our website, kpix.com, or on our YouTube channel. Well, coming up, the future is now. How artificial intelligence is working a job you might not expect.
It still blows my mind to think, hey, every day I get up and I go to work with a robot.
We are going to introduce you to Isaac, the laundry folding robot. Well, the Bay Area and Silicon Valley have been on the cutting edge of artificial intelligence. Like it or not, AI has written our emails and driven our cars. And as Itai Hod reports, now it's coming for our chores. That's a good thing.
In this small laundromat in San Francisco, the future is unfolding. On a typical day, Philip Charette, a laundry worker, handles hundreds of pounds of clothes, enough to make anyone's head spin.
The longest and most tedious part is folding the actual articles of clothing.
But today, he can take a load off with a helping hand, straight out of a sci-fi movie. Meet Isaac, a robot equipped with cameras and sensors that can sort, fold, and stack piles of clothes with surprising precision.
It still blows my mind to think, hey, every day I get up and I go to work with a robot.
Philip works for Tumble, a San Francisco-based laundry service that gets your clothes done in 4 hours. Now, with a little help from Isaac. He's a tad slow, about 2 minutes per item, but Philip says he's still learning.
You get a lot of people watching you?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people. He really is a celebrity in his own right.
And Isaac is just the beginning. Neo, a humanoid by Palo Alto startup 1X, is set to hit the market in 2026. Automated helpers are taking the grunt work out of chores, with a global household robot market expected to soar from $12 billion in 2024 to $71 billion by 2034.
It's picking up the toys.
Kondorusas, the co-founder of Weave Robotics, the company behind Isaac, says these domestic robots are giving people something money can't buy: freedom.
We want to make sure that people don't have to spend time doing things that they don't want to do.
The price tag, tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the robot.
The big question, can he do fitted sheets?
Fitted sheets, oh, with the elastic band. God, I can't do those even.
And while Isaac has a few wrinkles to iron out, one thing's for sure: he'll never fold under pressure.
So the laundromat CEO tells us with Isaac on board, it's not just the laundry getting lighter. The company is hoping to bring its pricing down in the near future from $55 to $35 per bag. Not bad. Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top story.